All right, team, so CrossFit Open workout 26.3 just went live. They just threw down in Miami, Florida. The workout, again, pretty nasty. Looks like it's going to be more of a 60-minute AMRAP than it is a for time workout. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got this week. What we have is with a 60-minute time cap, as I just mentioned. You're going to start with 2 rounds at weight number 1, which are RX weight. For ladies, 65 pounds. For fellas, 95. You're going to do 12 burpees over your bar, 12 cleans, 12 burpees over your bar, and then 12 thrusters. So when you finish that 12th thruster, you're right back to burpees, right back to cleans, right back to burpees, right back to thrusters. That is your first 2 rounds. Weight stays the same for those 2 rounds. Now, when you finish up that second set of your thrusters, you, the athlete, has to change your weight. You can't have help. And our weight goes up to 75 for ladies, 115 for fellas. Again, 2 rounds through everything with that second weight. So burpee, clean, burpee, thruster, burpee, clean, burpee, thruster. And then we'll finish up one final time through those 2 rounds with weight number 3, which is 85, 135. Same exact thing, working 4 times, 16-minute cap. Now, gonna go ahead and say this. You're probably not going to finish this workout, especially if you're watching this video. Chances are you're not an elite level athlete, and we have yet to see someone actually finish it. None of the ladies on the live stream did, our elite athletes that demoed. So what does that mean for you? Like I mentioned before, this 4 time, it's really a 16-minute AMRAP, and knowing that that is your framework going in will change the way you approach this workout. We're thinking less about how quickly can I get through all this work? We're thinking more about how much work can I get done within my time domain. So let's talk about a couple of important questions that I think can kind of help us define how to approach this workout, right? The conversation mostly will revolve around, do I cycle the barbell or do I just perform singles for the cleans specifically? Now, the questions that I had, I was trying to think through, okay, what are workouts that are very common in the CrossFit space that could maybe help us define when it would be beneficial to actually approach this workout using cycled barbell reps versus doing singles. So my thought was, Fran, we have a high load or a high volume of repeated reps at 65 and 95 for our thrusters, 45 total reps broken up into 21, 15, 9. And then we have grace time as well, where we cycle a barbell. It is clean and jerk, and Fran does have pull-ups built in as well. But for grace, clean and jerks, 30 reps per time at 95, 135. My thought here is, in my mind, if I were to guide an athlete as far as do you cycle, what does cycling look like? I think first metric we can look at is our Fran time sub 3 minutes. And is our grace time sub 2 minutes? My thought there is, from a muscular endurance standpoint and from a heart rate breathing, like ventilation standpoint, we can probably handle moving through at least the first 2 rounds of that lightest barbell unbroken or breaking it up intentionally. What that could look like, yes, it could be unbroken. But another thought would be, what if we did something like a descending rep scheme with a short break in between? That way your grip can rest, you can take a big deep breath and reset. So maybe it looks like 5 reps, 4 reps, 3 reps on the cleans and on the thrusters. So thinking through maybe those 2 tests could help provide a baseline for how do I actually approach this. Would it be silly to approach it as unbroken? Would it be silly to even do any touch and go? The nice thing about the first weight specifically is that you can probably just do muscle cleans through the entirety of those first 2 rounds and still be able to manage your heart rate well. For the second and third round, I would probably encourage most athletes to do singles unless you are genuinely at that elite level, like the top 1% or less. It may not actually be worth trying to cycle through that 75, 115 or that 85, 135. Now, what I also wanted to look at was total reps of these movements versus kind of our rate of work, right? It's important to know rate of work and how much work you can get done per movement per minute, because that can help us kind of gauge where we want to be by the end of the 16 minutes of this workout. So what I did was first calculate 144 burpees, right? the 144 burpees through all 6 of those rounds. From there, you have 24 thrusters at all 3 weights, which comes out to a total of 72, and then same for the cleans. Now, past that, I also was thinking about, for the rep ranges, what it looks like for our everyday human to come in and come do this. So it's still well trained, say our consistent members that have been at the CrossFit thing for long enough to know what the open is, to know what these movements are, to know what they feel like. Our advanced athlete, so call it like our RX athlete, who has been around the space, maybe can click RX probably 80 to 90% of the time. And then our elite level athlete. Of course, there are more categorizations we could get into, but this is just a generalized approach. So thinking through burpee speed. For our everyday athlete, my thought is 10 reps over the barbell per minute is a pace that can be maintained. Chest and quads to the floor is the standard, and then it doesn't have to be 2-foot takeoff, but you do need both feet in the air as you traverse that barbell, right? You also can't hit the barbell with your feet as you're jumping. So 10 reps, again, this kind of puts this workout into perspective. For 144 reps only of burpees, that would take about 14 and a half minutes. For our advanced athlete, we're thinking about 10 minutes at a rate of, say, 14 burpees per minute. And then for our elite athlete, we're thinking 18 reps per minute. That puts you at about 8. Now for our thrusters, I was thinking about this per our first weight, so that lightest weight, same for the cleans in terms of finding these rates of work. For our normal athletes, we're thinking 8 reps every minute. You could do that as like 5-3, you could do that as 4-4, and what we'll find is the ability to hang on to the barbell for longer increases with kind of the more advanced level of athlete. So for our advanced athlete, we're thinking 16 reps a minute. That's about 4.5 minutes worth of work for those 72 reps. And then the elite athlete, we're thinking like 24 reps a minute, right? 3 reps per second or 1 rep per 3 seconds. That gives you about 3 minutes worth of work at that lightest barbell for 72 reps. And then last for your cleans, a little bit slower cycle rate because grip really starts to become a factor here. Normal athletes, we're thinking about 7 reps. Advanced, we're thinking 10 in a minute. Elite, we're thinking 13, which is 10 minutes, 7 minutes, and then 5.5. So if we look at the total math, for our elite athlete, 8, 3 is 11, plus 5.5 is 16.5 minutes. I think the math checks out because we did not have any athletes actually finish. Olivia was 3 reps shy of actually finishing up the workout. So I think that this is at least close, hopefully can provide a guide for you. I would encourage you as the athlete, try to categorize where you fall in these ranges and then kind of look at long-term through the 16 minutes where you want to end up. Setting a very specific and attainable goal will be helpful for you. And then last thing, guys, tips and tricks. Break the first 2 rounds. I don't think anyone needs to genuinely go unbroken through all of that. All that's going to do is jack your heart rate up. And when you add your weight, which you have to do yourself, just another reminder, you're going to look at that barbell and say, I don't want to pick this up anymore. But if you approach it with smaller sets, maybe if we do qualify for cycling, or if we approach it as singles, take a deep breath, take your steps back, find a rhythm, and keep working. Next up, it is a 16-minute AMRAP. This is not a for-time workout for anyone. For most people, there will probably be a handful of people that will actually finish this, similar to 26.1. Next, the burpee will affect the lockout of your heavy thrusters. If you get to that final barbell, expect this motion, close to 90 times through of this horizontal press will affect that punch through here. So keep that in mind when you approach the last set of thrusters at that heaviest barbell. And then the last thing, thrusters and burpees, man, expect your heart rate to just shoot up. So we need to do everything we can to manage your heart rate. The moment you lose that, the moment you lose composure, you lose out on the best opportunity to perform well in this workout. So guys, go in with a game plan. Take a minute, plan out what your approach is going to look like. Be reasonable with yourself as far as expectations. And remember, it's an AMRAP, it's not for time, okay? I look forward to seeing you on the leaderboard. Give the page a like and a follow, and I'll look forward to catching up with you soon. Good luck.